Good morning, good afternoon, and happy Monday, guys. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Hope you're all raring to go. It is a brand new week, and a massive thank you and welcome to Stig Kenobi for joining me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well. Just had a bit to eat and I jumped on.
Nice. Yeah, we were chatting on Twitter and we were talking about Halloween kills, and I thought I've got to ask Stig if he's willing to join me for this one, and thankfully he said yes. So before we jump in, let me say hi to everybody. Let's see, we have got both Bash Brothers, we've got Mark and Chris. Hello, guys. We have got Snortopubis Cuba. Hello. We've got Mr. Haha Oni. Good to see you as always. Keely Chow, Roll Tie Keely. Hello to Six. Hello to Spock's Friday Nights. Good to see you. Let's see who else. We've got Jax. Good to see you. Good morning. Shane Nolan. Good to see you as well. Rab Marshall. Good afternoon. Let me scroll up, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Lord Thoth. Good to see you. Good morning. Project Storytime. Good morning. Dave Bob. Hello, Dave Bob. Melody, good to see you. Let's see who else we've got. I know I saw Arwin earlier. Good to see you, Arwin. Zeropium. Good morning. Great show you and Loki did just. Let's see who else. We've got Paris. Good to see you. Firefly, good afternoon. Good to see you. Camphor, good to see you and good morning. Welcome, guys. And Darth Hasta, hey, good to see you. Hope everyone is doing well. And hello, Shane. Good to see you. So, we were chatting in the green room and we were talking on Twitter, obviously. And this film, it seems to be one of those films that are split horror fans or split film fans in general. Half the people that I've spoken to love it, half the people hate it. There doesn't seem to be any in between with this film.
Well, except me.
Except you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in between. I understand both sides of the argument. Really,
Mm-hmm.
there's good points from both. I ended up on a 7 out of 10 for this. You know,
Ah, okay. That's
yeah,
pretty high. I mean,
yeah,
considering.
yeah. A 5 would be mediocre, but yeah, I thought it was a 7. Maybe I was being a bit kind. I don't know. I'm not known for being gentle though. But
I I'd say, if now you've watched the other films and you did kind of what I did and watched the 2018 right before Halloween Kills, because that's really the best way to do it, I would say, because
yeah,
this film leads directly. I mean, it picks up like minutes after the first one ends, so you really need to know exactly what's going on for Halloween Kills to make any sense.
uh, just to be certain though, am I allowed to spoil things?
Yeah, we can do a few spoilers. You don't mind, do
Yeah.
you, chat?
Oh,
Let us know in the chat if you're okay with that.
yeah. Just so
Um,
I don't so I don't spoil anything for people who are going to watch it today or something, right?
yes, we'll let the chat decide for a couple, for a minute or two. But um, just before we do kind of jump into spoilers, if they say
You know,
yes,
if if the chat is split, that means I get to spoil and you don't.
exactly. Shane Nolan says go for it. Jack says go for it. Mark says spoilers are cool. Renzero says spoiler away. All right, let's go for it. Spoilers, go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah. I don't want to spoil stuff for people who don't want to be spoiled. You know.
Exactly, same. I always like to give people a heads up just in case. So, what is your takeaway from it? Because, as you say, this is the middle film of a trilogy that they've got planned, and for me, it really felt like it. It felt like a middle film.
Yes, yes, it did. Um, well, I thought the previous one was more grounded and realistic,
Mm-hmm.
and technically, the very first one, the original, is also quite realistic in a sense. Then they go haywire, right? Michael turns into Jason, basically, and I think they
Yes.
did a little bit of that with this one too, especially near the end. They turned him into, the basically the Terminator we see in Halloween 4 and 5,
Yes.
right?
Yes, any grounding in reality that they were trying to go for in at least the first film, because I thought, like you say, the first film, because what they did is they basically retconned everything except the 78 film, which
Yeah,
they say these films are a direct continuation of, but they kind of didn't play by their own rules in this film.
yeah. It's like, this happens often. They always try to top the last one,
Hmm.
and that's not always necessary. If you look at movies that have done that right, like the Lethal Weapon movies, they
Yes.
don't try to top the first one. They just do the same,
Hmm.
right? They keep the tone, and it works. In this one, I thought to some extent they kind of fell into the trying to top it, you know, trap. But
Hmm.
they were very good at explaining things, though. So I don't think there were any plot holes in it. They even explained in great detail how Michael ended up in the psych ward that he was in the last movie. So that was good.
They did, yeah. They went to a lot of pains, and Six says, "What rules did they break, Purple?" Later on, basically, he is set up to be. They're trying to give this idea that even though Michael's just a man, the whole mythos behind him is what gives him the power. Where they
Oh yeah,
fall down with that, in that they make him almost invulnerable. Basically,
yeah.
he cannot be taken down.
They basically went down the route that the old sequels did,
Hmm.
where there's something supernatural about him. I think they
Yes,
went into druidism back in the old movies, right?
they did.
That
Yes,
Yeah, because
yes.
of the Sam Hain stuff, and they took a few steps down that road with this one too, which is I was like sitting there thinking I thought they were going to avoid this,
Hmm.
you know, but then they just jump in it. But um, it had some very cool scenes though, and it was great to see CGI Donald Pleasance, which was done perfectly, I think.
That was freaky, and not in a bad way, as you say.
Yeah,
That was brilliantly done. The guy that they got to play him was incredibly convincing. This
yeah,
is, uh, as you say, CGI and bringing a character back to life that people love. And he was well used in the film. Some of
yes.
the best scenes were the ones where they brought back Dr. Loomis.
It's going to be a bit eerie for the future, isn't it? Because
Hmm.
technically, with this technology, they can have Heath Ledger star in the movie with James Dean, right?
Yes, which would be very weird, but they would do it.
Yeah. The way Michael escapes from the burning house was done perfectly, I thought, because
Hmm.
the firemen arrived right after, and we are shown how he survived in that room. And when he exits the house, that was probably the one of the most awesome scenes in the whole series.
Yes, I do love that scene, and this is the scene, obviously, that I've got up at the background at the moment, where he's walking out, fire
Yeah,
behind him, blazing, and he just looks unstoppable, and proves to be unstoppable because he then takes out the entire team of first responders.
yeah, they were fired. But yeah, um, that was the scene the SAWs wanted to cancel too, because he was being
Really?
mean to the firemen. Yeah, they wanted it removed from. There was a petition. They wanted it removed from the movie, and I'm like, a mass murderer killing people is bad in a movie like this.
So that's one of the scenes I wouldn't have expected them to want removed for some
Yeah, it
reason,
was
but
something to
yeah.
be nice to firemen or whatever,
Huh.
But I don't know.
Unusual. But who can predict SJWs? And a massive thank you to Psychodorf. Hello, honey. He sent us a $5 super chat. He says, Larry Niven, whatsoever the rules of your universe, stay within those rules. Otherwise, go home and start over.
Yeah,
Well said.
he's spot on because the rules and the world building, I guess, is the framework that keeps the picture, which is the story, together.
Hmm.
And it's also the foundation you build a story on. So you can't build anything solid on a messed up foundation, can you?
Absolutely.
Which
Do
is
you?
what Disney's doing.
Yes, this is what Disney does. Absolutely. Do you
Yeah.
think that with this film, as you said, they started off a lot stronger? I watched the two back to back, and I actually enjoyed the 2018 more. I thought it was a more grounded film. I
Yeah.
know that this was made, and there is quite a bit of this Me Too running through it, which has aged really badly, even though it only came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
But it's still noticeable.
that well, Jamie Lee Curtis last year said that this movie had to do with BLM.
Hmm.
And yesterday she said it has to do with the January 6th thing. So I'm like,
Yes.
those are quite far apart. So I'm like, pick one, you bimbo.
Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't seem to know which thing to be outraged about. But also,
Yeah.
we were talking in the green room before we went live, and the next film, which is Halloween Ends, which will be the third part and final part of the trilogy, is supposed to be about the coof.
Yeah. It's supposed to be about well, you know what? If it does take place like a year after or something and people are in lockdown,
Hmm.
that would actually be a good setting for a Michael Myers movie. Because people can't
Yes.
leave, you know?
With the way that this film ended, though, there's not many people left to leave.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then they're like, Michael Myers kills someone and see the reporter go, well, at least he was wearing a mask.
I can fully see that being a line. Don't give them any ideas, please.
Yeah.
Um, let's just kind of just jump back a little bit and give some backstory to the plot. So the first film, obviously, is Halloween from 2018. It's set 40 years after the original film, which in this scenario is its successor. So nothing after the 78 film exists within this universe. They completely retconned it. So with this timeline, it's just the 78 film, and then it leads straight to the 2018 Halloween. And then obviously Halloween Kills picks up immediately after the first film.
Actually, it kind of picks up during the first film
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's
because
flashbacks to the first film within the
no,
second
no,
film.
well, I mean the 2018 one, because
Mm-hmm.
you have some scenes where one guy has just found the corpse of someone who got killed halfway through the previous movie. You know, the guy
Yes.
that got stuck on the fence.
Yes.
So it's yeah, there's no time skip between them at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually they're in each other, really.
They are. And what did you think of the cast? I mean, on the whole, I thought they were pretty strong, even though they didn't have a, it's a pretty by numbers film. One of the arguments that I've seen for people that are, really huge supporters of this film is, what were you expecting? This isn't Shakespeare, it's a Halloween film, for goodness sake. And I get that, but it doesn't mean we have to lower our standards.
Yeah,
I still
yeah,
expect a film to be kind of coherent and to follow its own rules that it's set out.
yeah. I thought the story in this movie, was fine. It wasn't confusing,
Mm-mm.
but it was just maybe maybe an okay story, but with a bit wobbly execution.
Yes, I'd agree with that. I think they went to, great pains to try and give him a little bit more of a deeper backstory, because as you say, we have flashbacks to the 78 with a young officer, young Deputy Hawkins, who basically comes upon the killings as it happens, and that's where we get the Loomis scenes, obviously, where he's, he wants Michael to be taken out because he is pure evil, and it doesn't happen. He just gets taken into custody, and
Yeah. Oh,
every,
it's one cool thing. Well, I thought it was a bit cool. They had like a Michael Myers survivor reunion in at
yes.
Haddonfield with the children that
Hmm.
Jamie Lee Curtis was babysitting in the first one, and the nurse that gets almost killed when Myers escapes in the first movie.
Hmm.
And yeah, they were different though than they were in 4, 5, and 6 and whatever, right?
They
Uh,
were, yes, yeah.
Tommy Doyle, the kid, was probably the least likable of all of them. That was, yeah. Well, if you like Mob Rule, this is the movie for you, and you'll like him.
Yes, he was a bit of an oddball character, wasn't he, Lonnie? I didn't particularly like his son, Cameron, either. And Cameron is a bit of a tool in the 2018 film as well. He doesn't have much to do in the second film, he's just kind of there. This second film, I would say, is all about the three female characters. It's all about the three generations, with Laurie, Karen, and the Allison, the granddaughter.
Yeah, the guy who played grown-up Tommy Doyle, though, that's Anthony Michael Hall,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
who was in uh, all kinds of 80s movies when he was a kid. He was one of the leads, I believe, in Weird Science. He was in The
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast Club.
Yes. Remember in
Um,
Breakfast Club? Yeah.
yeah, and the kid in the Vacation movie with Chevy Chase. So it was weird to see him being old.
It was a weird one. You brought up the whole idea of mob rule, and this was the one big sticking point that I had, and where I thought was one of the biggest plot holes. Now, they go to great detail and great pains to try to put across the idea that, it's the fear that's driving people. This is what happens when people give in to the fear and then they let mob rule take over, especially in a case of mistaken identity, which happens in this film. But on the other hand, they've also got the heroes, in quotations, of the film making vigilante groups in order to track Michael down. So
Yeah,
is it possible to have it both ways?
yeah, and well, spoiler. One of the other escaped mental patients from the first, well, from the previous movie,
Mm-hmm.
has still escaped. So he steals a car and stuff like that, and he ends up in the hospital. And they spot him, and they think it's Michael Myers. So half the town starts chasing him to kill him. And
Yes. And
the guy isn't wearing a mask or anything. I don't even think he's wearing underwear. He's wearing one of those
it's just got a
long
hospital
shirt.
gown on. Yep.
Yeah, and he's about 5'4" tall. He actually looks a bit like the Penguin in the second Batman movie.
I thought he did as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, how can you possibly think that's Michael Myers? I
I can.
mean, a lot of the people had even seen him when they were kids.
Yes, yeah.
You
A lot
know?
of people, as you say, a lot of people that are in this group that are trapped in this hospital, and the fear's rising and the anger's rising with the police. A lot of these people have had interactions with Michael,
I
so they
mean,
would know.
the old Sheriff Brackett from the first
Mm-hmm.
one. He's in it. Same
He's there.
actor too.
Yep.
He was there when they arrested him. He knows what the guy looks like, how tall he is, and even he goes after him, right? And I'm like, come on. It's like, it was kind of like if you watch the movie Twins
Yes.
and you can't tell who Arnold is and who Danny DeVito is, right? It was a little bit like that. So that was the biggest. Well, it's not a. Well, actually, it is a plot hole, isn't it? Because they hadn't seen him.
It is, yeah. And to be honest, it was just kind of dumb. It took me out of the film, to be honest. I know where they were going with it. I know they were trying to say this is what happens when people, succumb to fear. This is what happens when mob rule takes over.
Yeah,
People get caught up in their moments and they get into this frenzy and they make stupid mistakes.
yeah, yeah. And
But
Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter kind of seals him in this little hallway to keep him safe, and she basically just made a cage for him.
yes,
So they
yeah,
could, yeah, that was. I don't know. After that scene, though, with the mob stuff against that mental patient,
hmm
that's when I started rooting for Michael Myers.
Yes, and Kaylee brings up a really good point as well. She says he was also running away from them, so it doesn't make sense to think that it was him. But then again, that's exactly how the mob works. They never do make sense. Absolutely,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, agreed. Absolutely, hit the nail on the head, Kaylee.
Oh,
Yeah,
one of the kills though was a bit, you know, the the black lady in the nurse outfit that tries to
that
shoot him, and he bumps her gun, so she
that
shoots
was dumb.
herself.
Yes.
I was like, come on.
The whole logistics of being able to kick a door which I will say was already mostly open anyway. So there's a bit of a continuity error there. But for it to hit her hand, to flip the hand back as she's pulling the trigger, so she accidentally shoots herself,
Yeah,
is
and with the
stretching
wrist,
it. Yeah.
with the wrist bent all the way, you'd struggle to even press the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. That was I like the whole park scene when he was stalking Lindsay though.
Yes, that felt like the old Michael, and that really does fit the character. The whole he's unstoppable. No matter how fast you run, no matter where you hide, he will eventually track you down, and that
Yeah,
fits. That's
which
part of the
he
character.
which he actually didn't do.
No,
He didn't track her down
she
actually.
didn't. No, she just kind of sort of hid under a bridge, and he just walked straight past her.
Yeah, and then she went to the hospital and screamed sometimes, and we never saw her again.
No, but
So
they
I'm
had this
getting,
whole thing where he's on this mission to get back to his house. That's all he's doing. He's making a beeline towards his childhood home. It doesn't matter if anybody gets killed, it's because they're in his way getting to his destination. That's what they were
yeah,
trying to get at.
it seemed like his goal in life is to stand in the bedroom window and watch the street.
Yes, that's
That,
all he wants to do. Yeah, just stare out
that's
of the
his
window.
motivation. And I'm like, fine, but don't you have to eat sometimes? You know, I don't know, but yeah, maybe they'll explain it more in the next one. I don't know. They probably will. But at the rate they went with this stuff, though, they kind of took it. I thought they took it too far
Hmm.
into the supernatural element.
I would agree too, but this was definitely one of the weirder turns that they took with the character. He's almost, they've pushed the whole inhuman idea now. Not that he's just naturally evil, that, he was born evil, that he can't be rehabilitated, but there's something, otherworldly about this character now. And as you say, it's
Yeah,
getting towards Jason, which Michael Myers never was.
yeah. I think um, you can still make him inhuman without making him supernatural. You
Hmm.
know, he could just be really damaged in an eerie way. It doesn't have to be, that he's Satan's brother. You don't have to take it that far.
What did you think about the kills in this? Because this is, I think, the film with the highest body count, most definitely for any of the Halloween films.
Oh yeah, it opens up with a slaughter fest of the firemen, but
Hmm.
some of the kills I thought were very fitting for the character, especially the guy, the old guy that uh, he puts him on the table after he's dead and starts stabbing all the kitchen knives into him. He
Yes,
stabs him once, goes and fetches another knife, stabs that one in, and he does like 5 or 6 of them.
I thought that was really weird. It's like some of the kills are very straight laced and very serious, and some of them are almost playful and silly. And that for me was one of them, where he just keeps getting knives out of the chopping block and just puts them in his back, turns around, gets another one. And
Uh,
all the time the gentleman's wife is lying there on the floor watching this while she's dying.
yeah, that one kind of worked for me though, because it showed the inhuman side of him, because he was
Hmm.
kind of forced to watch really.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, when it was killing those, that gay couple,
Mm-hmm.
uh, he crushed the guy's head like it was Game of Thrones season 4, right?
Yes, and that
I'm
was
like,
one of the most gory kills.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he's strong, but he shouldn't be superhumanly strong. I mean, because you saw in the last movie, he grabbed one of the lady's leg, and
Mm-hmm.
she just kicked and shook loose.
Yes, his power seems to wax and wane depending on when it's needed in the plot. Because, as you say, I think it is this film as well. He stamps on somebody's head and it just obliterates like a watermelon.
Yeah, which is probably why you feel so melancholy.
Oh my god. Okay, bravo for that one. That one was a good one. And a massive thank you to neighbor of the let me start again. Massive thank you to Man of War 665, neighbor of the beast. Hello, honey. He sent us a $6.65 super chat. Thank you. He says, I really have no clue what you lot are on about. There is no Halloween beyond 78. And remember, if something is already rotten, it cannot be spoiled. Indeed. So I'm guessing you're a purist fan of Man of War.
Yeah,
Um,
which is fine, you know.
And absolutely. And a big thank you to MB Geek Jesse. Thank you, honey. He says, take care, pretty lady. Gonna watch Dune on HBO Max. With Loki saying good things, it's a good sign to me. Also, rest in peace to American hero, C. Powell. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, MB Geek. Well said. Let's see what someone else has got to say. Shane Nolan says, a gay friend of mine said in the theatre someone cheered when the couple died. He said they should. He couldn't believe it. I've heard that
To
they were some of the most popular characters. I've got to admit, I didn't dislike them. I thought they were, believable couple. I thought they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, they were, but one of them was a bit of an asshole. No pun intended.
I've got to.
Yeah,
They were the
I
least irritating characters, I
yeah.
will say.
Ba-
Big John and Little
basically,
John.
basically, one of them didn't deserve it because he was cool,
Mm-hmm.
but
The other
the guy
one,
was
not
yeah,
so
the other
much.
one was so
Yeah.
unlikable. I was like, yeah, come on, squash his head, do it.
And hello to Snowdub. He said he picks up a fireman with a pickaxe, so he's definitely got superhuman strength. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it comes and goes as it's needed. He can swing people around one moment, but another moment, a woman can kick a way out of his grasp when it's needed.
yeah,
And Mobile Recluse says the kills from the beginning felt it up the shock factor, but the last kill towards the end felt flat and poorly executed.
yeah, because
Yes,
you could see it coming.
yes, that felt tacked on to me. And I've heard that that wasn't the original ending, that they did have a different ending, or there's a slight twist to the ending that they didn't give us, which involves Laurie.
Well, they usually do unrated versions of these. So I think when it's out on Blu-ray, I'm gonna get the unrated version because that usually has more scenes, right?
Yes, usually, yeah, they'll give you, whatever scenes were cut or whatever bits they edited will be put back in. And Mark says, I'm not against a movie that's dumbed down to a degree, but it's not the point to where it's insulting. To me, villains have to be smarter because they have to plan things out.
Well, you
Um,
know what? This is kind of explained in this one because they do say Michael Myers is like a 6-year-old mentally.
mm-hmm.
So Michael Myers isn't a smart villain. He's more like a force of nature, right? He just doesn't stop, but he's not like his. I've never seen him lay a trap or anything.
No, he can be sneaky, but
Yeah,
I've never seen him lay a trap. And the reason he's usually sneaky is because he's up against such really stupid people.
yeah, yeah. Usually, he just kills the people that are dumber than him.
And What did you think of the guy that was playing Michael? I mean, he's certainly got the build. I thought he did pretty well. He's
Oh
definitely
yeah,
got the physical side, and we've had
yeah.
a lot of actors throughout the years play this character.
I uh, I thought, well, the extra violence aside, I thought he nailed the movements and the presence of the one from the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so 10 out of 10 for that guy.
Yes, he does seem to have done his homework, as you say, when it comes to the walk, to the movements, to the way he stands, even to where he just kind of tilts his head down, because there's a scene early on um, and later on in the films where he's not wearing a mask. Excuse me. And obviously,
Yeah,
you never fully see his face; it's always in shadows. But it's that just kind of presence that he gives.
yeah. And the ending when they gang up on him and beat the crap out of him and they leave him for dead, and he just can't defend himself properly, he just gets beaten.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he probably has like 50 concussions, he gets up and fights like Conan. You know, that was a bit, you know.
Yeah, the ending for me really, really fell flat. And this is a character that has been injured in the first film, is still carrying over injuries from the film that came directly before it. So he's missing most of his hand because he got it shot off when he was trying to take out Laurie in the house. He's been set on fire. Most of his mask looks like it's been melted onto his face. He's been shot, stabbed, beaten, and he
Yeah,
still gets up and takes out most of this mob that is standing around him doing
yeah.
nothing at this point.
Including two of the side characters from the very first movie,
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff
Yeah.
Brackett and Tommy Doyle.
Yes, yeah.
And
Finally, finally gets him.
to be honest, when he got up and started killing them off, I was like, it felt a little bit like when Rocky gets knocked down and he slowly gets up and you hear the Rocky music and he's going to kick ass. It was a little bit like that because I was like, okay, go for it, kill him.
Yeah, I was fully with him at that point. It's like, I do not care about Haddonfield. Just take
No,
out the entire town, please.
it's a shit town. Michael Myers did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I don't know whether you're supposed to at this point be rooting for the deranged killer, but I couldn't give a crap about this dumb town. So I was fully on Michael's side by the end of it. And Candy says, I didn't really like the ending, but the only part I liked about the end was Laurie Strode was saying back at the hospital. I hope they go into more, they go more into what she was saying in the next one.
I hope she's standing there continuing her monologue at the beginning of the next movie, and then Myers sits behind her and chops her head off.
Yes, it's a very short film, but that's
Yeah.
okay. We can go with that.
Yeah, you know what? What's his name? Is it William Patton?
Mm.
Who played the sheriff? Excellent character, I thought. Very, very interesting, and he's still alive.
Yes, he's one of the few characters that does actually survive onto the next film, because obviously the big kill at the end is actually Laurie's daughter.
Yeah, and Patton was left for dead in the first one. We all thought he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still alive, but he's spent the whole movie in the hospital bed, talking about how he back in the day wanted to shag Laurie Strode.
Yes. And that was another thing that kind of got to me. Everybody's saying that, oh, this is my fault. Laurie's saying it was my fault. I created him. He's saying that it was my fault. I should have taken him out when I had the chance. Really, it's everybody's fault for not doing something within the 40 years that Michael has been incarcerated.
I mean, when he gets captured, half the town has a chance to kill him.
Yes.
So it's
and they would have been
fault.
justified to do it, and nobody could have been prosecuted. You had the chance to take him out, but no, you just leave him lying on the ground until he gets back up again.
Yeah. The only one who actually tried was Loomis, but they stopped him.
Yes. See, this would never have happened if Loomis had still been here.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise.
Hashtag Loomis did nothing wrong.
No, Loomis was right all along. That kid's batshit crazy and needs to be put down like a dog.
Yeah.
Best psychiatrist ever.
Speaking of psychiatrists, what did you think of his student that was desperately trying to get through to Michael to try and make some connection with him?
Uh,
I thought he was just kind of a really pointless throwaway character.
wait a minute, students trying to connect with him.
Yeah, the doctor character that was traveling on the bus with him, the one that was really trying to talk to Michael to try and break through. Yeah.
Yeah, from the previous one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they just tried to flip Loomis, around.
Mm-hmm.
The character was fine. He had gotten obsessed with Michael Myers, and also I didn't mind that, but I don't know. But I did notice a nice little throwback in the previous movie, though, when Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter is sitting in the classroom and looking out the window. She's sitting in the same seat as Jamie Lee Curtis did in the first movie.
Yes.
I thought that was good. That was a cool thing.
And that's the weird thing about these films. They've clearly done their homework. They clearly want to pay homage to what came before it, and they clearly do love the 78 film. But then they do stupid things. And it's like, guys, please. Pick a plot and stick with it.
Yeah, you know what? I watched an interview with the people who made Jaws 4, which is not a good movie.
No, it's a terrible movie.
Oh, yeah. But the guy who made it, he said, we sat down and wrote it, and we thought this and that would be cool and blah, blah, blah. And nobody said it out loud that this is a shit idea. So everyone knew it, but nobody said it. So they were sitting there thinking, okay, I guess it's going to be fine. Nobody's saying something.
I guess it's unanimous that this is a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's what happened a little bit with this one in some of those scenes, because if you take away the few stupid scenes, really, because it's not that many that were kind of dumb.
No.
Yeah, you have a fine Halloween movie, but because of those few scenes, it kind of drops a few points in quality, and that's all it takes sometimes, right?
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think a little bit of editing, and I think this would be a really strong film. And just to say a massive, massive thank you to Stephen Glenn, and good morning, sir. He says, Halloween may be cool, I don't know, but watching old Nightmare on Elm Street or the Exorcist movies will never disappoint for great horror. Hail to the lovely red-haired Valkyrie. Love to you. Love to you too, Stephen Glenn.
I don't have red hair. Oh, sorry.
Stig's lovely too. And thank you so much, guys. So, just before we get on to the next thing that we're going to talk about, would you recommend this film? I know this film has come out, I think it came out at the right time. I think if they had pushed it back to a actual Halloween release, I think it would have been going up against too much stiff competition with Dune. And it has done well at the box office, I will admit that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's done very well at the box office. Yes, I would recommend this. I wouldn't say it's a must-see movie for anyone, but all in all, given the the franchise movies we've had in the last couple of years, this one doesn't do too much wrong, right?
Right. Yes.
So
it's got a few missteps, but on the whole,
yeah, it's a bit wobbly, but it remains standing in the end, And I want to. Oh, that sounded dirty, didn't it?
Just like Michael, I was going to say. Yes.
Yeah, that was quite a mouthful. Oh. Anyway, yeah, I recommend people watching this. I'm not sure if I'd recommend watching it at the cinema, but
Hmm.
definitely definitely watch it.
Yes, for me, I would say if you're going to watch it and you haven't watched the 2018, I would say watch them back to back because I think you'll get the most from the films. Because obviously, there's flashbacks to both of them, and they're basically one long film. There is no
You
break.
know, you know what? It's kind of worth it for the Loomis scenes
Yes, it is.
because they were perfect.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the guy they got to play him. He looks and sounds
Yeah,
spot on.
yeah. If you're a fan of Donald Pleasance, you're gonna get some cool stuff, and it's done well and respectfully.
Yes, which is a big plus in my book because they could have made a fool out of him, they could have made him the bad guy, but they didn't. They make him the voice of reason.
Yeah,
And a massive thank you and good morning to Captain Spire. Thank you so much. He says, I don't care what anyone says. I'm getting my TOS red shirt, and even my girlfriend wants to get into the celebration of Halloween. Trick or treat. Absolutely.
excellent, excellent.
Oh, I need pics, Captain Spire, please. And Nerd Poriel says, a fan of the 78 film. It's in my top 25. I love the 78 film. You can't go wrong with the
It's
original.
it's awesome. I rewatched that one before I watched the two new ones, and the writing in the first one is pretty much just straightforward. There's
Mhm.
nothing deep about it. It's just he shows up. He had killed people before, and then starts stalking someone. And but the thing is, it's the atmosphere and the whole package just works. There's no brilliant writing in the first one. There's
Mhm.
not much writing at all, but it just works.
It just works. It works as a suspense film, and I think
Yeah,
if they can get back that element, the one thing that I will say, yes, there was a lot of gory kills, but I think it was a little bit over the top in this film. If they can just dial that back a little bit and get back to the heart of the Halloween mythos, I think that they can steer this back, and we'll have, if not a brilliant trilogy, then at least a worthy trilogy.
yeah. And so far, I think, despite some hiccups, they're on the right track
Hmm.
overall. But when it comes to movies like this, once you've seen the villain get killed once, a lot of the fear factor goes away. And the same thing happened with the Alien franchise.
Hmm.
Once the alien is killed in the first movie, it's not as scary in the second one, which is why they have many of them, right?
Yes,
But
exactly.
the eeriness and the unknown stuff and the how the hell do we kill it, that's gone.
Yes. So for you, you gave it a 7, did you, out of 10?
Yeah,
Okay. I'm going to go a bit lower. I would give it probably a 6. There were parts I liked, but there were parts that really took me out of the movie, and to me, the ending didn't work. So that's but I would still recommend it to anyone who loves the franchise. I think it's definitely worth watching. Whether or not you love Blumhouse, or whether you just are a fan of Michael Myers in general, um, I think it's a good Halloween watch.
yeah, it is. You can do a lot worse than watching this one for Halloween.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on today before we finish, we've just had a new trailer for the Batman released. Would you like to have a look at it and go over it with me?
Yeah, sure.
All right, awesome. Let me pull this up then. So, guys, I've
That's what she said.
I knew you were going to say that. I've been kind of on the fence about this film. I've talked about it a couple of times. I don't have massive hopes for it, I've got to admit, but uh, I'm hoping that it will surprise us. So let me make sure that's pulled up correctly. It is. So let me turn the volume up just a little bit, and we will hit play and go through it and see what we think.
I'm liking the look of Gotham right away.
Yes. It's definitely going for a much darker tone.
Yeah.
Stay still. Get out of here.
Come on, let him finish his tea, though.
Now, I'd be curious, did he do that, or did he request the whoever made the coffee to put a question mark in the phone?
I don't know. That's the question, isn't it?
Fear is a tool. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
No, I don't hate the suit that he's wearing, but he
No.
still looks too slender for me. He doesn't
Well-
have the bulk.
He's supposed to, because this is basically very early days.
It is, yes, but even early on, he still had the build.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm just not a massive fan of Robert Pattinson, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for this because it's
He's
stepping out of his comfort zone.
he's actually a very good actor. I saw him in the the Lighthouse.
Yes, The Lighthouse was great. I
When
enjoyed
he
it.
I have a lifelong feud with seagulls. So when Pattinson smashed the shit out of that seagull, I'll blindly support him for the rest of his life.
Warning. I've been trying to reach you.
Fire the gun!
See, this is the big thing that a lot of people have picked up on. He's very trigger emotionally.
He looks like a one of those. If you see those, teeny horror movies, the slashers, the dumb ones.
Yeah.
It looks like one of the jocks. That's bullying one of the main characters.
Yes. The one thing I will say about this trailer is it's put together a lot better than the previous one. I think they've learned from the criticism that they had, but I'm still not convinced.
This is about a king, and Riddler's the match.
I can take care of myself.
If this continues, it won't be long.
Really hoping that Zoe Kravitz is a great Catwoman, and she looks beautiful. I will admit that.
She needs to knock it off with all this SJW crap, though.
Yes.
She was whining about how her character was being fetishized, and I'm like, you said yes to play a character that usually wears a gimp suit. What the hell did you think was going to happen?
She wears a skin tight suit and carries a whip. Which part of that was confusing?
Yeah, she's only missing a ball gag.
What do you think about Colin Farrell as the Penguin?
Looks pretty good.
Looks good. I mean, I wouldn't have said that. That was Colin
No.
Farrell under all that. I
Oh.
think I think he's a talented actor.
Yeah. Looking at him though, I wouldn't know that he's supposed to be the Penguin.
No, and even with the upcoming scenes in a second, unless you knew the character, I think you would just think he's just some other mob boss.
Before you've nothing left. I don't care what happens to me.
It's only going to get worse for you.
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart.
Not entirely convinced on the accent. A lot of versions that we've had have given him a Cockney accent. Now, I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd followed that, like from the Arkham games. I think that would have worked.
Yeah, the fight scenes look excellent though.
Yes, the choreography does look good. Now, how much of that is Patterson and how much of that is somebody filling in for him, I'm not sure. But at least it flows well. It looks good.
Yeah.
Hear everything they say, ain't you?
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
Her nails were freakishly long for a thief. Not
Mhm.
practical one bit.
No, and I know Michelle Pfeiffer's character had the nails built into the suit,
Yeah, which makes more sense.
which makes more sense. Yeah,
because she would be wearing gloves over those nails,
Mhm.
and that's not practical at all. And those nails look like shovels.
Yes. Now I have long nails, and I know how hard it is to grip things, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be jumping off buildings or trying to break into buildings.
Now, if jumping around and grabbing ledges and stuff like that, she would break all her nails in one night.
Mhm. Yes. And I would really love to know what the bat suit is made out of, because it just shrugs off bullets, and nobody aims for his face, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Vengeance. Was black.
And I hate what they've done with the Riddler. They've made him look like the Zodiac Killer. Now, the Riddler is probably my favourite Batman villain, other than Scarecrow. I just do not like what they've done with him. They seem to have gone down a kind of very serial killer route, where the Riddler was always supposed to be a more cerebral character.
Yeah, I still think he's better than Jim Carrey, though.
Yes, that I would agree with. Let me just go back.
But you know what? If you're gonna do dark and realistic, you can't really go with the cartoon Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change that guy. I mean, you can do it easily with Two-Face and Penguin and the Joker, right?
Yes.
Because they're way more dark than the Riddler on the surface, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But he is very cartoony.
He is. He's very gimmicky, and that's his whole shtick, which I think is why he's quite hard to write. But if they'd gone down the route where he was, say, like the Saw killer, setting traps for people the way they did in the Arkham games, I think that would have worked. Now, maybe they've gone down that route and we're just not seeing it in the trailers, but I just really don't like the look of him. I don't like the mask. I don't like the this one-piece suit that they've put him in. As I say, he looks very much like the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he's supposed to look like, but I'll give him a chance, though, because this is clearly a very new take on the Riddler. So maybe it'll work. I don't know, but I think if they'd used the cartoony one from the cartoons and the comics, then maybe it would have felt off too.
Yes, and this is clearly very dark in tone, this film. I think this is going to be one of the darkest iterations of Batman that we've had.
Yeah, which is, in my opinion, the darker Batman gets, the better it is. That's just my opinion, though.
Agreed. Yes. Oops, and I've just seen a couple of super chats. Let me scroll back up and get them. So we had one from Miss Martin Muses. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Let me just see, because it skipped on me. It was a rose. Thank you, honey. Thank you so much. And we've also had one. We had a super chat from Golgo, I think. Let me see. You guys are on it today. Let me scroll down. Yes, there it is. He says, "Hail, Purple Valkyrie and Stick Kenobi." Hello. It says, "Working at the moment and busy for a change in the morning. Sparkly vampire does not one Batman. Does not make one Batman." Cheers. Yeah, I think he's got a lot stacked against him. But as Stick said, he is a competent actor, given the right role. I just couldn't see him as Batman.
One of the reasons why I'm giving him a chance is because I made a fool of myself with Heath Ledger back in the day, because I didn't think he would do I could not believe he would make a good Joker. I thought it was ridiculous, and I said so to a lot of people. And then the movie came out, and I was proven dead wrong, because he was superb.
Agreed.
And so I'm trying to be more cautious this time.
Giving the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And a massive thank you to Mexican Iron Man and good morning, Puppy. He sends us a $9.99 super sticker, and it's a pair, and it says #1 fan. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
It's actually a 666 upside down. Disturbing. That's a hell of a super chat.
Oh my gosh. And just quickly, Mark says Killer Croc or Clayface need to be villains in a movie. I would
Yes.
like to see Killer Croc or Clayface, or I would like to see Man-Bat. Man-Bat doesn't get enough love.
I've heard a lot of people say they want Man-Bat as a main villain.
Yes. I would like to see that. All right, so let's finish this trailer.
In blue and dead over. Take
I got you! I got you!
Clearly, you did not. What do you think of the design of the Batmobile? Think it's a little bit stripped down at the moment, or think it's something they need to work on?
I think it's the first version of the Batmobile. You know,
Yes.
because I was talking to my nerdy home, Stephanie and Jade
yeah.
Shadow,
Mhm.
and they're huge Batman fans. And usually, if I want to know something, I ask them. And they said this would have a lot in common with the Year One graphic novel. That's what they
Yes.
said, and maybe with a dash of the Long Halloween in it. I'm not sure, but they would know better than I do.
Mhm.
So I just nodded and said yes.
Yes, that's what I've heard. Obviously, they've gone right back to, this is Batman in his most early stage. This is where he's learning to be the hero. This is why he's got sort of a wobbly moral compass, shall we
Yeah.
say, at the moment.
Yeah. But if that information is correct, like it's Year One and he's still basically a Batman in training
Hmm.
with not fully developed morals and all that, then everything seems pretty good. If you go by that.
Yes. Yeah, I would say if that's where they're going for, I think going by this trailer, this is a much better trailer than the previous one. It ties it together a lot better, and it kind of portrays the characters in a much better light.
Yeah. Well, for me though, personally, one of the most important characters in a Batman movie
Mm-hmm.
is Gotham.
Yes.
Gotham needs to look right. I don't think it looked right in the Christian Bale movies.
Mhm.
I think the two Tim Burton ones nailed it because it's
Yes.
supposed to look more gothic, like it's stuck in between two centuries.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a miserable place to live as well.
Yeah, so that plus a lot of rain or snow
Mhm.
just seems to work way better for the tone of that comic character, right?
Hmm.
And when I say Gotham is a character, it's Gotham is the world the story takes place in. It's basically the Middle Earth of Batman, right?
Mhm.
And it's the one thing all the characters interact with. So it needs to be done right, and that's usually where you get the atmosphere and the the mood.
Yes, that's it. That's that's why it breeds these characters. It's the environment that you get
Yeah.
these supervillains and ultimately heroes from. Absolutely. And a
Maybe
massive. Sorry, Cameron.
maybe especially in the second Tim Burton movie,
Hmm.
Gotham looks very gothic. It's almost like it's like an Eastern European medieval city almost.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
is
It definitely had its own
somehow-
aesthetic there.
yeah, and that I think adds a lot to Batman. right? I don't want to see it in Superman or anything,
Mhm.
but it just needs to be there with Batman, and I'm not completely sold on this from the trailer, except for the first scene with the diner. You know,
Mhm.
it was
That
raining, and
yeah.
that looked like Gotham, but I don't know. Um,
And
if I'm full
just
of shit,
quickly, a
if I'm
massive thank you to Max Relax for the super sticker. Thank you, sweetheart. Much appreciated.
yeah, if the chat thinks I'm full of shit when I'm talking about Gotham, let me know. I can take
Yeah.
it.
I don't think you are. I know exactly what you mean. Like you say, you need a good environment to set up, else these characters aren't believable. If you put them in any other situation in just any other city, they seem ridiculous.
Yeah, it just doesn't. You're supposed to believe it's Gotham, not your average city. You know.
Yes. And I think the chat seems to agree you need to get the dark side out of this. But a lot of people are saying no to no more origin stories. We're getting tired of this.
Yeah, I mean, Batman's parents is probably the most on-screen killed characters ever.
That and Uncle Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Uncle Ben too. Well, he's catching up to them.
And a massive thank you to GoGo13 Anime 101. Thank you, sweetheart. He says, Batman, the animated series, Gotham is Gotham. Heart of
Yes,
Ice for
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yes,
I
exactly.
completely agree, and I'm not a huge fan of watching animated shows anymore.
Hmm.
But someone told me to watch that one, and I got hooked because I had just started playing, the Arkham games, and I was hooked on those. And I actually that animated show uh, comes close to the Arkham games in tone, really.
It does, yeah. I would say the games are a spiritual successor
Yeah,
because they use the same cast. They used, the same love for the IP.
yeah.
Right, let's just see if there's any more of this left to go.
That there is overused. The hero walking in front of a burning background.
Yes, it's been done before.
I mean, if you look at video game covers for shooters, uh, so many of them has like a character with a rifle walking away
Hmm.
from something that's burning. I'm like, go back to the good old Duke Nukem days and put a douche on there with a big gun. Don't have to have everyone being in front of something that's burning. You know, you know, you know what's burning behind them though? It's creativity.
I mean, it looks cool, but as you say, it's been done how many
Yeah,
times before?
yeah.
Yeah.
It looked cool the first 3 times, but it's just a pet peeve of my video game covers look bad now. Back in the day, they were awesome.
And Keely Chow's got a good point. He says Gotham is New York and Chicago at night. Metropolis is New York, Chicago, and Toronto during the day.
Well, they've changed it to San Francisco now, Metropolis, that is.
So, having seen the trailer, is this something that you think you'd be interested in watching, or are you just, kind of on the fence about it? Is it something that
Uh,
you?
I want to watch it. Absolutely, I do. You know, um, I'm still a little bit on the fence.
Hmm.
But uh, I think it's gonna be better than Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
uh,
agreed. Yeah.
maybe you know what? My prediction is that it's gonna be on par with The Dark Knight Rises,
Hmm.
which is people's least favorite in that trilogy. You know, I think it's gonna be something like that, and hopefully, when they do the next Batman movie, they follow this one and they don't reboot it yet again.
Yes, please, please, no more reboots.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has Spider-Man been rebooted now? Four times in 10 years or
Hmm.
something.
Yep.
I mean, give Uncle Ben a rest, his final rest.
Yes, just let him go. It's okay.
Yeah, stop shooting him.
And Ren Zero, I agree, says the new trailer is much better than the first one they put out. Have zero interest in DC films, though. A lot of people have said that, a lot of people, they're getting kind of burned out on superhero films now.
Oh, I'm done with Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Endgame ended it, well enough.
Yeah.
And I did not like Batman versus Superman one bit. Hated it. Well, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. But I did like the Snyder Cut. That one I thought was awesome.
Mm.
So I'm very hit and miss when it comes to DC.
Yeah, DC have a lot of potential, but they have to live up to that potential. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So guys, I want to say a massive, massive thank you to Stig for joining me today. I know it was short notice, but I am really, really honoured that you took the time to join me.
Oh, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. A massive thank you to everybody who joined us in the chat today. You guys were on fire as usual. Huge thank you to everybody who sent super chats and super stickers. You guys are the best. I could not do this without you, so thank you. Stig, what have you got coming up?
Operation in the morning, so not much.
Ooh.
But usually on Thursdays I'm on OG Star Wars talking about Lucas era Star Wars comics. We're going through them, which is a lot of fun. And then on Fridays I am on with Jade Shadow for the Cringe Factor, where we talk about the top 3 dumbest things in pop culture for the last week. But last Friday we did our top 10 horror movies, so it was different, and that was fun too. That's it, I think.
Awesome.
Other than that, I just pop on if people ask and I'm awake and have nothing better to do.
Like today. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very, very honoured that you could. So thank you so much. Guys, I will add Stig's link to the description. So please, if you're not subscribed, please check him out because he does fantastic content as well.
No, I don't. But I just steal old commercials and put them on my channel.
But they're funny. We were going through them last time.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them. And a massive thank you to Stephen Glenn again. Thank you, sir. He says, how will I know you at the Halloween ball, Batgirl? Will you be wearing purple streaks in that fiery red hair? Or do I have to listen to that lovely voice? LOL. Have a great week. Have a great week as well, Stephen. I hope you have a wonderful one. And thank you so much for all your support. I really, really appreciate it. Also tonight, guys, I will be back. It's a late stream for me, but it will be at 7 Central, which is a 1 a.m. UK time. But I will be doing episode 6 of our continued Band of Brothers stream. I'm going to be joined this evening by Dave Bob and Just Another Red Shirt. So I'm really looking forward to getting to chat with them. So please, if you're around, please join us. Really excited for that stream.
Yeah, it sounds like even that it's Band of Brothers, it sounds like a blast.
It is. We've had some fantastic streams last week. Everyone has really knocked it out of the park. So I'm excited to be able to take part and take an episode. So a massive thank you to Paris and to everybody who's been passing the baton on.
Explosive stream on target.
Exactly. And Shane Nolan, it says Baston is a gut punch of an episode. It is. It's one of my favorites and definitely one that I wanted to talk about. So I'm very, very lucky to be able to do that. So guys, tonight, that will be later on. Hope to see you there. But until then, I will say have a fantastic rest of your Monday. If I don't see you tonight, I hope to see you Wednesday. We'll be back regular time. And a massive thank you to Stig for joining me today. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.